Revolutionary greetings, comrades. It's a right Sunday, the 27th of August 2023. We are discussing the outcome of the Zimbabwe 2023 elections. We did promise you that we're going to give you our own scientific analysis as the Zimbabwe Communist Party. We'll try our level best to be very brief in this video. Camille Cabral tells us that he says, tell no lies, claim no easy victories. And as communists, we must be guided by this principle. In understanding this election, an idealist will tell you that the Triple C lost the elections, or ZANU-PF won the elections because of massive intimidation in rural communities and even political playing field, the use of traditional leaders as political commissars of ZANU-PF, and an even playing political field in Zimbabwe, failure to adhere to the principles of SADC that guides the holding of democratic or free and fair elections. While a materialist, which we are arguing in this video, will tell you that in understanding the outcome of this election, we need to understand the legacy of the liberation struggle and the struggle of the working class in Zimbabwe. Let me explain why. In rural communities where ZANU-PF performed better or won the elections, during the struggle for national liberation, the people understood the struggle as the return, or the struggle is about the return of the land from the colonialists to the people of Zimbabwe. In urban centers, the struggle, as we have explained in previous videos, has always been a struggle against the capitalist system. Post-1991 has been a struggle rejecting the neoliberal agenda as adopted by the Zimbabwean government. This is why Triple C continues to win urban votes. It won 100% of the votes in Bulawayo. It won the majority of the seats in Harare and in other urban centers, because the working class understand that ZANU-PF is not a party that would rebuild the Zimbabwean economy. Whereas in rural communities, there is a division. In rural Mashonaland and in rural Maswingo, ZANU is a party of liberation. It is a party, in their understanding, that played a key role in the struggle for the liberation of Zimbabwe. It is a party that championed the land reform agenda. Therefore, the alliance, the peasant and the working class alliance that we saw in 2000 in Matebeleland, which we even see today in this election, does not exist in Mashonaland, Maswingo area, region. Simple because the rural people in Matebeleland identified ZAPU as their party of liberation. I'm not saying ZAPU was regional nor was ZANU regional, but this is the reality. In the struggle for national liberation, ZAPU dominated in Matebeleland. In 1980, the class alliance between urban and the rural, as demonstrated by our Hammer and the Siki, was evident. The people of Matebeleland, both rural and urban, in 1980 voted for ZAPU under massive intimidation. And during the genocide in 1985, without ZAPU holding a single rally in rural Matebeleland, the people of Matebeleland voted for ZAPU. In 2000, when the MTC was formed, this class alliance again was cemented in Matebeleland, that is rural and urban. and they voted for the MDC because they could not reconcile themselves with the party that committed a genocide. Whereas in rural Mashonaland and Maswingo, ZANU-PF was seen as a party that had delivered land to the people. And they saw the MDC and now Triple C as a party that seeks to reverse the land reform agenda. It was only in 2008 that the rural Mashonaland and Maswingo voted for the MDC, and we understood at the time the reasons why they did so. So the idealist view must be dismissed for a simple reason, that the people of Matabeleland in this election in rural areas in Matabeleland have overwhelmingly voted for Triple C. In Matabeleland North, they voted for Triple C. It has won the majority seats. Matabeleland North, it's a rural constituency. In Matabeleland South, while ZANU-PF emerged victorious in terms of the parliamentary seats, but ZANU-PF is not controlling the local government in rural Matabeleland. For instance, in my own rural constituency, Umzingwane constituency, ZANU-PF candidate, retired Brigadier Levi Maihlome, won the seat by 7,416, while the Triple C candidate Mcebisi Ndlovu lost by 7,232, or he got 7,232. So it was a small margin, right? But Umzingwane district, as per the outcome of this election, it is Triple C that is going to be chairing Umzingwane Rural District Council, same as in Bulilim. So you have in Matabeleland South, where ZANU-PF will win with a small margin the parliamentary seat, but the rural councils are in the hands of the opposition Triple C. Something which cannot be said about rural Mashonaland and the rural Maswingo. So in understanding this election, we must understand the legacy of the liberation struggle, because ZANU-PF or ZANLA launching the struggle for national liberation coming from Mozambique, which we'll discuss in detail in the next video. People identified with the ZANLA as an army of the liberation movement. Whereas in rural Matabeleland, people cannot reconcile with the ZANU-PF, a party that committed a genocide. So, as I'm saying, if we follow the idealist view, that because the campaign did not happen or there was intimidation in rural communities in Mashonaland, in Maswingo, hence the people voted for the opposition, and also the displaying of tables by what is called the FARS outside the polling station intimidated voters to an extent that they were then forced to vote for ZANU-PF. Same happened in rural Matabeleland. But the people in Lupane, the people in Cholocho North, and in other rural communities in rural Matabeleland voted for Triple C. So, if we are to understand this election and we were to discuss what needs to be done to defeat ZANU-PF in an election, one would then conclude that we need a mass movement that understands clearly the struggle for national liberation and the struggle of the working class. Because it cannot be correct to have the division between these two classes, the peasant and the workers. Because the workers in Harar, the working class in Harar, are voting for the opposition. The peasant in rural communities outside Harare are voting for ZANU-PF. So it therefore means that the current opposition is not understood as an opposition that seeks to complete the liberation of Zimbabwe. So we need a mass movement that clearly understands the legacy of colonialism, the legacy of the liberation struggle, and what needs to be done to complete the liberation of Zimbabwe, so that the unity that existed amongst the people of Zimbabwe, both rural and urban, will be clearly defined, and the people will then begin to define the nature of the struggle. So in rural communities, in Mashonaland, in Maswingo, the MDC is seen as a party that will reverse the land reform program. In other words, that is triple C. In other words, it is seen as a party that is advancing an imperialist agenda. Whereas the workers across the country are very clear that we must reject the neo-liberal agenda in Zimbabwe. But what we have is an opposition at the present moment that does not unite these two class formations in Zimbabwe. ZANU-PF cannot unite these class formations. This is why ZANU-PF, it deploys in Ncube in a working class suburb in Quadri Park in Bulawayo, loses the election, notwithstanding the massive resources that were poured in Quadri Park. It's clear that ZANU-PF cannot unite the working class and the rural areas. Comrade Blaine Zimande was correct, as I'm concluding, that ZANU-PF is now a party of rural communities. So going forward, we need a mass movement that will unite the working class and the peasant and strengthen this alliance of the peasantry and the working class in completing the liberation of Zimbabwe. Please write your comments. I've tried to be very short, but there are a lot of things to discuss. We'll do so in the next video. Please write your comments in the comment section. I am Mabuto Nicholas Mapena, General Secretary of the Zimbabwe Communist Party. Please subscribe in this YouTube channel. If you're on TikTok, please follow us.